Hi there, my name is JackTheFallout and welcome back to Blade and Sorcery Brutal, the series where I make Blade and Sorcery as unnecessarily brutal as I possibly can. As you can see, I'm hiding behind a door at the moment, and that's because today we have got something a little different. I have created an official JackTheFallout Blade and Sorcery mod collection. So if you are a Nexus Premium member, you are able to install all of these mods with just one click. Link will be in the description. I have specifically curated the Blade and Sorcery mods to be as brutal and as entertaining as possible. Alright, have I talked long enough yet where blood can be shown and I won't get demonetized? Probably not, but let's go. I was expecting that to be a lot cooler, to be honest, but these are the mods that can be found in the collection. Link will be in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Up first, we have Jaw Physics. This adds physics to the jaws of your enemies. This mod can be especially immersive if you're punching them in the face. Because I don't want to get into the gory stuff just yet, we are going to have a look at some of the weapon-related mods, like the Sheath Framework and the Inquisitor Weapon Pack. Melisatius, I hope I've said your name right, makes some absolutely incredible Blade and Sorcery weapons. Whenever I'm looking for a weapon and I see that name, I know that the weapon's going to be good. The Inquisitor Sword is one of my favourite weapons in the game. I use it all of the time and it feels really nice, and that is the Sheath Framework at play. I really like these Dune weapons. They feel really nice and they've got a very ninja-y vibe to them, so I've put them in there because they seem pretty brutal and they work really well as well. There's swords and daggers. We also have got the Last Kingdom weapon pack. Haven't watched The Last Kingdom, but this sword is absolutely incredible and I love it. It's got a nice swing to it, it feels really nice and it's satisfying to use. It's like a Viking longsword, but the end is pointed, and I like that a lot. Extra Animated is another staple. This mod adds extra animations when the NPCs die, but this mod may conflict with internals, so I'll talk more about that later. The Ultraviolence Audio Overhaul. By adding a bunch of extra brutal sounds to the game, it makes things sound visceral and gory. If you're squeamish, imagine he's cutting up watermelon with a hammer. Thigh dismemberment. Well, it's in the name. It lets you dismember the thighs because the torso split is incompatible with Eternals. So with this, not only can you cut their legs off, but you are able to de-thigh them and cut them into a triangle. Ah, the flip spell. Not necessarily very brutal, but still necessary if you want to pull off some really cool moves. With this, it's in the name. You get to do all sorts of different kinds of flips by using the jump button and pushing the analog stick to left or right. Now, the default settings are up way too high, so if you go into the flip spell in your Vortex and open it in File Manager, and then click on the flip spell folder, go into spells, and then click on this JSON file, and it should say 540 or 500 and something. You want to change that 5 to a 2. And once you've done that, it will be a lot slower when you spin and it won't make you feel as ill. Katana Mega Pack has some of the best katanas available for Blade and Sorcery, so I highly recommend you download it as well. And this is the flip spell in full effect. As you can see, you can pull off some really cool moves. Moving on to realistic decapitation. Again, it's in the name. You get to decapitate your enemies realistically. Their heads will not just pop off like a bottle of wine anymore. And this can be incredibly satisfying when done right. Realistic bleeding is an absolute must-have when playing Blade and Sorcery, because it adds a certain level of realism to the game, and when you cut someone, it just feels so satisfying, as demonstrated here. Painful Death SFX is an absolute must-have as well. It's one of the best violent audio mods available for Blade and Sorcery. Here is what it sounds like if you've never heard it before. Heavy Enemies is one of those ones that you wouldn't expect to be a needed mod, but it adds weight to the enemies, so when they drop on the floor, when they die, it feels a lot more realistic. They don't feel like they're filled with air anymore. You can tweak the settings in the settings file as well. I also have Lift Anywhere installed, but I'm not promoting Voldemort. Headbreaker is the enemy brain-destroying mod that lets you cave in people's skulls. It's brilliant. More blood. That's it. It's just a little bit more blood. Paint the town red. Eternals is a mod that it makes it so that the enemies can have a lot of different kinds of bleeding damage. So you stab them in the heart, they'll die quicker than if you stab them in the leg. It's an absolutely fantastic mod and I highly recommend it. But there are unfortunately a few conflicts with this mod. So if you want the other mods to work a little bit better, then I recommend disabling this. But I leave it on because it adds a certain level of realism and I like that. Especially when you stab an NPC multiple times and they pass out for a moment. Blood Effects Overhaul 2 actually still works on U12, even though it was released in U10. You can see throughout this video, you would have seen streams of blood pouring out of the enemies, and that is Blood Effects Overhaul 2. And there's a simple thing that you have to do to get this working, and that is change the build version in the manifest of the mod. So you go over to the mod by opening it in location in Vortex, and then you click on the manifest, and you'll see the game version right there. It should say 11.0. You want to change that to what U12 is. You will find it in a working U12 mod manifest file, so copy and paste that into the Blood Effects Overhaul 2 and the mod will actually work. It's quite surprising because usually mods become incompatible with new updates, but this one has worked through and through for some reason. Not necessarily brutal, but the Renaissance plate knight armor is absolutely amazing to fight. They are like one of the best bosses that you can fight in this game. Because the plate armor itself protects the entirety of the enemy you are fighting, you just end up having an epic sword fight with a plate armor wearer, and they are actually hard to kill. It's only when you get a cheap shot on them in the neck or on the hand, they drop their weapon and you're able to go in for the kill. It's an exhilarating feeling, and it can be brutal at times. So that's why this is in here, because it is so much fun. A little honourable mention, the Slasher Pack is a must-have weapon pack for Blade and Sorcery, especially with brutal mods. It adds a bunch of horror-based weapons to the game, as well as Lucille, because if you have Headbreaker, you're going to want to smash some skulls. And the Medieval Mega Pack is in there as well, but we've all seen these before. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. But it's not over quite yet, because I wanted to talk about something that is an issue with Blade and Sorcery at the moment, and this is coming up because of something that a friend of mine, Father Gamer, has said in one of his videos, and I wanted to discuss it as well. I think that mod.io is a god-awful platform and it should be removed from the PC VR section of the game as well. This is one of the reasons why I'm making this collection, because mod creators put hundreds of tens of hours, whatever, into making the mods, and they 100% deserve some form of compensation, whether directly or indirectly as well. And by downloading from mod.io, they are literally getting nothing. And if you didn't know, mod creators get these things called DP, and with DP they can use those points to claim actual money so they can actually get paid for creating the amazing mods that they create. And as well as that, a few other bonuses too. I'll show you my mod page personal and show you what mod creators can actually get. And you don't actually have to take any money out of your own pocket. Mod creators get the DP from your downloads. And yes, I am a strong believer in not charging people directly for mods. But that's why I agree with Nexus mods so much, because a little bit of the money from the premium people buy goes into the DP pool, and then the downloads get taken money. It's amazing. It means that mod creators can continue to do what they love to do and get paid for it, while money isn't being taken out of the pockets of people that download the mods. It's a perfect system. And on mod.io, mod creators make absolutely nothing, apart from the nice number that says how many downloads your mod has got. They get zilch for uploading their mods to that site. The only good thing about it is it gives Quest players the option to easily download mods without hooking it up to a PC and moving the files over, which is why I think the PC VR version should have this removed. I'll accept the Quest version having it, but I think that everyone out there, if you're a content creator, even a mod maker, or just someone watching this video, I think that if you're one of those 3 people, I think that you should stop using mod.io. Boycott that shit. Yeah, mod.io is much more convenient in the sense that you just have to click the mod to download it, but fuck that. You are literally taking away money from mod creators. Is it a coincidence that there haven't been as many mods coming out recently? Continue to use Nexus. It is a superior platform, it supports our mod creators, and it gives the mod creators more of an incentive to create more brilliant and interesting mods. Anyway, I've been JackTheFallout, thank you for listening to my little rant, and I hope you enjoyed the mod collection on Nexus Mod. Fuck you mod.io, thank you for watching, and bye for now. That's not an elephant! Why's it got 2 tusks?